بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة وما تقدموا لأنفسكم من خير تجدوه عند الله إن الله بما تعملون بصير.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وصلى الله على محمد وآل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. أما بعد، فقد قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم إن الصلاة عمود الدين. One of the questions which is frequently asked by mu'mineen is a question regarding sajda. What are the things on which sajda is permissible? What are the objects on which sajda is allowable? This is, of course, an important question, especially in the present time when Shia Muslims travel from their countries to other countries or live in a Sunni-dominated city or country. This question arises as to whether sajda is permissible on certain objects or not, or whether sajda is allowed on carpets or not. Of course, this is a serious question also. Sometimes it's a matter of life and death. And of course, one cannot do sajda on a turba or on a piece of stone when his life is at risk. So this is an important question. I would like to discuss the answer and give some details in this regard. According to all religious authorities, and based on the inferences and their deductions and the deductions of religious scholars, sajda is allowed and should be, of course, performed on earth and on anything which grows, of course, from the earth and which is part of the earth, like stone, wood, leaves of tree, grass, and so many other things. Sajda is not allowed on things which are worn as clothes and which can be worn, and which has the capacity to be worn as clothes. And sajda is not allowed on edibles, things which are eaten, things which can be eaten by people. Now there are some types of grass which are eaten in some parts of the world, but they are not eaten in some other parts of the world. The grand religious authorities, the Marajeh, have said that sajda on such object is not permissible because it is considered to be an eatable object, edible. And sajda which is not allowed and cannot be done on things that are eaten by people. Even if a small group of people eat that grass or vegetable, then sajda cannot be performed on it. Therefore, sajda cannot be performed on vine leaves when it is tender and delicate, because in some countries vine leaves are used as food. It is cooked by some people in some countries. So it's not permissible to perform and to do sajda on vine leaves. Sajda should be performed on earth, on stone, on woods, and on leaves of trees, and on grass. These are the priority, of course, as long as these things are available, as long as there is the earth and stone or wood. You cannot perform sajda on any other thing. The grand religious authorities have said that sajda in the state of helplessness, when you cannot find earth, when you cannot find stone or wood or such other things, in the state of helplessness, sajda can be done on asphalt, and it can be done on tar as well. On tar, it is permissible. Sajda in the absence of wood, in the absence of earth, and in the absence of course, stone, can be done on limestone, and it can be done on gypsum also, gypsum. But it cannot be done on wheat, on barley, and on cereals, which people, of course, eat. Generally speaking, anything which is eatable, like wheats, like barley, and such other things, cannot be used for sajda, for prostration. The same is true with anything that is worn. You cannot do sajda on a piece of cloth. You cannot do sajda on anything which is worn. Of course, in this state of helplessness and the absence of everything on which sajda is allowed, if you do not have access to anything on which sajda is allowed, you can do sajda on a piece of cloth, and you can do sajda on the back of your hand. That is also allowed. I say, in the absence of all things, all other things like earth, like stone, like wood, and such other thing, or like a piece of paper or a piece of tissue, you can perform sajda on a piece of cloth or on the back of your hand. Otherwise, if you have access to all those things, you can never do sajda on a piece of cloth. You can never perform sajda on the back of your hand. Many people naively and wrongly believe that doing sajda on the back of your hand is allowed. How can that be allowed when you have access to stone and to wood and to anything which is considered a part of the earth? Your hand and a piece of cloth is not a part of the earth. It's always in the state of helplessness, when there is no other alternative. It's only then that you are allowed to do sajda on a piece of cloth or on the back of your hand. Dear brothers and sisters, the best thing which is more recommended and which earns more sawab and which is a tradition of great scholars is to do sajda on the turba of Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wassalam, on that piece of clay which is extracted and which is taken from the land of Karbala and from the surrounding areas, the areas near the shrine of Abu Abdullah alayhi salatu wassalam. It has more reward. And there are traditions in the Shia books and Shia sources about using the turba of Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wassalam. Therefore, using the turba is not an act of shirk. we do sajda on the turba of Imam Hussain simply because it is the best piece of land on earth, the best. And it has been narrated that the land or where the grave of Imam Hussain and where the tomb of Imam Hussain is located is a piece of paradise. That's why it is recommended to do sajda on that piece of land. There is no other reason. There is no other reason. Whatever others might ascribe to Shia is not correct.
يا دافع الخطوب يا جابر المعطوف يا من هو مندوبي فعفوك مطلوبي يا دافع الخطوب يا جابر المعطوف يا من هو مندوبي فعفوك مطلوبي يا ستار العيوب يا غفار الذنوب يا ستار العيوب يا غفار الذنوب يا علام الغيوب يا كشاف الكروب.
Those who are opposed to Shia, they attribute very false and wrong things to Shia, especially when it comes to using the turba of Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam. Turba means earth. We use it as earth. And we have been recommended and we have been advised to do sajda on earth and not on a piece of cloth, because it was the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, who prostrated on earth. He prostrated on his mat, which is also a part of earth and which is also allowable according to Shia. The Shia always says that sajda should be done on earth and on anything which is a part of earth. The tree, leaves of a tree from which the mat is made, sajda can be done on it. Therefore, if you are standing on a stone, it's not necessary to put some extra stone in front of you and to do your sajda on it. If you have, of course, you have your access to turba, you can put it in front of you and do sajda on it, because it's a turba and it comes from the land of Karbala or from the land, from that piece of holy land. But if you are in Mecca, if you are in Medina, and where you are, you cannot practice your religion openly, then it's not necessary to take out a piece of stone and put it in front of you. You can do sajda even on carpet because of taqiyya, because of quietism, because of dissimulation, of course. But in Mecca, of course, I have always seen there is no carpet in Masjid al-Haram. People walk on the slate, on the marble slate. So there is no question about using turba. You can do sajda on the stone, on the marble slate. Sajda is allowed on that marble slate. It's not necessary to put some extra thing in front of you or a leaf of tree when you have access to the stone, and when the floor is made of the marble and marble slates. The same is true in Medina, of course. Some parts of the mosque, Masjid al-Nabi, are carpeted and other parts are not carpeted. You can stand at a place where you have access to the marble floor and to the marble slates on which you can perform sajda. So there's no question about using turba or about folding your hands or doing sajda on the carpet. Of course, some parts of the mosques in Medina as well as in Mecca are carpeted, but there are other parts which are not carpeted. You can offer your prayers on that place where there is no carpet, so that you can put your head on the marble or the stone slate. Dear brothers and sisters, sajda is an act which is only for God. It's not permissible to do sajda for anyone other than Allah. Those who go to the shrines of the infallible Imams, sometimes they are seen bending themselves and doing prostration. Of course, if they are doing sajda for Allah and out of respect for Allah, and then there is no problem. But if this is done for the Imam or for any individual, it is forbidden, it is haram. And of course, sajda is meant, and sajda is to thank Allah. It's an act of thanksgiving. It is an act of gratitude to Allah. It is an act of submission to Allah, and it's purely for God. It's not for anyone else other than God. So if you are suspected, dear brothers and sisters, if you are watched by other people, and you are suspected of prostrating or doing sajda for your Imam and for the infallible Imams, do not do it. Avoid doing so. Respect can be done if you want to observe your respect, or if you want to do some kind of respect. There are many other ways of showing your respect and showing your veneration for the Imam. The best way to respect an Imam, or the best way to respect the infallibles, is to learn their teachings, to act according to their teachings. That is how you can please them. That's how you can make them happy with you. Inshallah, you understand it. And dear brothers and sisters, there are some mustahab and makruh things in sajda. When you offer your prayers, of course you do sajda, but there are some recommended acts which some people believe to be obligatory, but they are not obligatory. For example, the takbir before the sajda, the takbir, Allahu Akbar, before and after sajda, is not obligatory. Some people believe that it's obligatory because they have not read the Risala of ulama, the Risala of the mujtahideen and grand scholars, religious authorities. The takbir, Allahu Akbar, is a recommended act. It is mustahab before the sajda and after the sajda. That is a recommended part. And of course, another recommended action is that if a person is, of course, male, it is recommended for him to put, first of all, his hand when he goes down for sajda. If that person is a man, it is recommended that he put both of his hands on the ground, and then he should put his knees on the ground and then do sajda. But if that person is a woman, then it is recommended for her to put her knees first of all on the ground, and then she should put her hand or place her hands on the ground in order to perform sajda. And it is recommended also to place something under your nose also. When you perform sajda, you put a mohr, a turba, or a sajdagah, as the Urdu speakers say, under your forehead. And it's also recommended to put something under your nose also, because sometimes, of course, you might have heard that applying hunut and kafur is recommended, or applying some fragrance is recommended to your nose and to your chest, because your chest and your nose also sometimes hit the ground when you are doing sajda. So it is recommended to put something like mohr or a stone or something under your nose also. That is recommended and not obligatory. And It has been also said that it's recommended for a person who is doing sajda to keep his fingers close together. His fingers close together. Yes, that is recommended. And also, it is recommended for him that after performing sajda, he should sit on his left thigh. He should sit on his left thigh, placing the instep of the right foot on the sole of the left on the left foot. Of course, this is easy, and of course, there is no ambiguity. There is no. It's not difficult to understand it, and everybody, as far as I have seen, everybody does that because they sit on the left thigh and they place the upper sole of their right foot on the sole of the left foot, and that is recommended. That is not, of course, obligatory. Another recommended act is that after every sajda, when a person has sat down and his body is composed, one should say takbir. That is what I said. Takbir is recommended before and after sajda. And it is also recommended to say Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh between the two sajda. Astaghfirullah. Many people, because they don't have time, they overlook that. But it's recommended, and if you can say Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh, that is good. Remember that your body should be composed, your body should be motionless, and it should be steady. That is very important. Do not recite a zikr and do not say a zikr unless and until your body is composed, your body is steady. When your body is motionless, say the zikr. Otherwise, stop saying that.
ناجيتك يا رحمن ودعوتك يا ديان يا خالق الإنسان الله 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 يا خالق الإنسان الله الله الله.
Even if that zikr is mustahab, even if that is recommended, do not say a zikr unless your body is composed and, of course, motionless. It is recommended also to say salawat while in prostration. If you dare say a salawat, it would suffice, but it is better to say Subhana Rabbiyal A'la wa bihamdi, and then after that you can say salawat, and that is also recommended. And salawat, of course, after every act. When an act is accompanied with salawat, that act is more likely to be accepted. Whenever you do a good act, send a salawat after that, and the salawat will go after your act. And it has been said that anything or any act which is accompanied with salawat is more likely to be accepted. It's more likely to be accepted, unless there is an expediency for non-acceptance. Otherwise, it is accepted. And of course, men should make their elbows and stomach touch the ground. It is recommended. They should keep their arms separated from their sides. And women should place their elbows and stomachs on the ground and should join their limbs with one another. This is another recommended act. And of course, as far as the makruh acts are concerned, it is makruh for a person who prostrates, who does sajda, to recite verses from the Holy Quran when he is performing sajda, to recite. So reciting a verse from the Holy Quran during sajda is makruh. And of course, the ulama have also said that it is makruh to blow off the ground when you do sajda. Sometimes some people might blow off the ground because they think that there is some dust which he will breathe and which will create difficulty for him. But it is makruh to blow off the earth. Of course, no one blows off, but if he blows off and without creating any letter or with any voice that would give a meaning or that would create a kind of word, if he does not do so, then it would be makruh. Otherwise, it is not permissible to blow off the ground in such a way that a word or a letter is created as a result of blowing off the ground. Dear brothers and sisters, sajda, there is a question also about sajda in the Holy Quran. Because now we are talking about sajda. Sajda in the Holy Quran, there are certain verses in the Holy Quran which, if you recite, will make sajda obligatory on you. And of course, whether you yourself recite the verse or you hear it from someone being recited, regardless of that person intending the recitation or not intending it, if someone is asleep and he recites the verse which contains sajda, or if a child recites the verse, even that child does not mean the recitation of that verse, but he recites it and he does not know about the obligation, he recites it, it's obligatory for you to do a sajda. And as I said, either you recite it or you hear it, and then it is obligatory for you to do sajda. And it does not make any difference whether you hear it from a mad person, an insane person, or a child, or a sane person. And of course, if you hear it, and then after hearing it, you repeat the same verse which contains the obligatory sajda, then it is obligatory, it is necessary for you to perform two sajdas, because one sajda would be for hearing and another for repeating the same verse. So two sajdas will be obligatory on you. Now the question is, what are those verses which if you hear or if you recite will make the sajda obligatory? The first is Surah Sajda, and that is Surah 32, verse 15. And the second one is Surah Hamim Sajda, that is Surah 41 and verse 38. Of course, this surah is called Surah Fussilat, and the verse is verse 38. And the third surah in which there is, of course, a verse which contains obligatory sajda is Surah An-Najm, and that verse is verse 62. Surah An-Najm is number 53. And the fourth surah is Surah Al-Alaq, which is Surah 96 and verse 19. These are the four surahs which contain obligatory sajda. And of course, as soon as the verse is completed and completely recited, then it is necessary for you to do sajda. And it has been said by the grand religious authorities that it is not necessary to be in the state of wuzu or ritual purity to perform sajda, nor is it necessary for you to perform the sajda in the direction of Qibla. Wherever you are, whether you are riding on a horse, or whether you are riding in a car, or whether you are sitting or sleeping, if you hear it, it is necessary to take action and to perform and to do the sajda immediately. If you forget to do that, whenever you remember, it's necessary to do the sajda, and that is obligatory. It is not necessary to perform the sajda in the direction of Qibla, but of course it's necessary to do sajda on something on which sajda is allowed. You cannot do sajda on carpet, but you should find something, a turba or a piece of stone or a piece of wood or a piece of paper on which to do sajda. Of course, now another question arises as to what is the zikr of the sajda, because you are going to do an obligatory sajda after reciting, after hearing or reciting the verse which contains the obligatory sajda. Then what is the best zikr? The ulama and scholars have said that what is necessary and what is obligatory is to do the sajda. The zikr is not an obligatory part. Just zikr is not. If you just bend and put your head on the ground, on something on which sajda is allowed, then that would suffice. But it is recommended to say a zikr. And zikr can be any zikr. You can say Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, and that would be sufficient. But the best zikr to say and to recite would be this: La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah imana wa tasdiqa, La ilaha illallah ubudiyata wa riqqa, sajadtu laka ya rabbi ta'buda wa riqqa, La mustankifan wa la mustakbiran, bal ana abdun dhalilun ra'ifun khaifun mustajir. This is the best zikr, but if it is difficult for you, you can just simply say Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, yeah. Or you can say Subhanallah, Subhanallah, Subhanallah. What is obligatory is the sajda itself, not the zikr. Of course, in the obligatory prayers, both the zikr as well as the sajda are obligatory. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
ربنا يا ربنا يا ربنا
يا ربنا
واغفر لنا وارحمنا يا ربنا ربنا يا ربنا يا ربنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا يا ربنا يا ربنا ربنا يا ربنا يا ربنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا يا ربنا ربنا يا ربنا يا ربنا